So we're like most people in America, man. We don't have a lot of savings or anything. Like we're paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately at this time. And she comes home and like rent's going to be due in a couple weeks. And out of nowhere, we have no money. We have like $300-400 in the bank, have no options. We decided we're going to have to pawn my wife's wedding ring, which at that time was a family heirloom that I'd gotten from my mom because I couldn't afford to buy a ring. So we're like, well, let's pawn this ring to try and get some money so we can at least afford to pay rent. And when we pawned it, unfortunately, we couldn't even get enough money to pay rent. It was ridiculous. So we even had to borrow money from her parents. It was like literally one of the worst times in my life.
How you guys doing? Here today for another episode of the Community and Conversions Show, bringing you some awesome guests like Mr. Jeffery Banek here, who is an absolute titan when it comes to funnels, a good friend of mine, and just seeing his journey of growth and getting to know him over the years has been really cool. And what's even more cool than that is how many people he's helped hit 6-figure funnels, 7-figure funnels, and really sharing back that knowledge that he's built up over the years. So if you, especially if you are a coach or aspiring coach, watch this one is take notes, participate, leave some comments, and love to hear from you guys, the things you learned and the things that you're going to do as a result of checking out this episode. So big welcome, Jeffrey. Excited to have you, man.
Thanks, brother. Good to see you again, man.
Definitely. So for those people out there who don't know you yet, you want to just fill in a little bit, who is this funnel doctor? Why is he wearing a lab coat? What's going on here?
So do you want the long or short version?
Let's go medium version.
Medium version. Okay.
Man.
So I actually started out, it's crazy, a lot of people don't realize this. I started out as a personal trainer and was running gyms, and I was a personal trainer and running my own fitness business for like 15 years. And out of nowhere, one of my clients, I was telling about this idea I had in 2010 to start up my first ever fitness app. It was like a SaaS. And long story short, we decided to do it. Year goes by, we get ready to launch, and he looks at me and he's like, Jeff, to be honest with you, I'd only set aside like $100,000 for this, and we've already spent $115,000. He's like, so I think I'm just going to write it off. And I'm just like, write it off. And this guy was making like $85,000 a week. So to be able to write off for his business $100K isn't unheard of. But yeah, he was like, realistically, to market this, to get it out there, especially since this is something that has never been out there, it could be 100, 200, $500,000 or more. And he's like, at this point, he'd just rather cut loss. So at that point, I didn't know what to do. So I started trying to run my own fitness business. Boot camps were really big during that time. So I was studying under this guy named Bedros Keuilian how to do fitness and business sales and marketing. And one day out of nowhere, he holds up this book from some guy, Russell Brunson, called .com Secrets. And he's like, you got to read it. And, being the good student I am, if your mentor tells you to read something, you read it, right? So I read the book, and when I read .com Secrets, I tell you, it's like, have you ever seen the movie Matrix, when Neo can first see everything and he sees all the ones and zeros, and he's like, but that book to me was like the same thing. I'm like, upsells, funnels, webinars, all this studying I'd been doing for marketing online, where I'd been like studying stuff from Ryan Dice and getting certifications through his digital marketer stuff. It all fell in the line. And I'm like, this is the future. Funnels are dead. Our websites are dead. Funnels are the future. And I decided April 4th, 2018 to go all in. And I got this funnel hacker tattoo before I'd ever done anything in Clickfunnels. Yes, everyone watching, that's a real tattoo.
Any funnel hackers in the house? Let me know in the comments. If you're a funnel hacker, type a hashtag funnel hacker down below.
Right. So I got this tattoo as a promise to myself that I was going to go all in and do something great in the Clickfunnels community. And luckily, as Arne has already said, I went on to win some awards. and not be some weirdo with a ClickFunnels tattoo. So I go all in on this funnel hacking thing. I'm in the group. Now, mind you, this is really big. Arne's big on groups. I was in this group for the funnel hackers. It was like 20 or about 35,000 at that time. Now it's like 250 or more. But I figured the best way I could master ClickFunnels was by helping anyone in the group. If you had a question, I'd look it up. I'd jump on a Zoom. I'd do whatever I can to help anyone in the group learn about ClickFunnels. So this is going on for a couple months. And then one day out of nowhere, some dude, Kevin David, never heard him before in his life, puts a post in the group that they need help with. He needs help with his funnels. Now, mind you, because I'd been so active in the group, they also just before this gave the top 10 contributors for groups just came out. You remember way back when that first came out. So for the first time ever, the group had grown to 72,000, and they named the top 10 contributors to the group. And out of 72,000 people, as the second highest contributor, and number 5 on the list for anyone from the ClickFunnels world is Julie Stoyan. So you can already see some of the names are on this. And I was like, wow. So everybody starts tagging me because I've been helping everybody. And because I've been giving so much value to the group, they just felt reciprocity, and they almost owed me to just tag me. And it was just like Jeff, all the way down. So of course, Kevin reaches out to me. And one of the things that have been going on, unfortunately, during this time is because I was all in, I've been maxing out credit cards on courses. I've been literally spending every dime we had trying to learn more about funnels and marketing and everything out there. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting there on my computer one day watching Russell Brunson doing marketing quickies when he looked like a 15-year-old boy back in the day. And my wife had left to go to work. And she leaves, and literally 30 minutes later, she's coming back, and she is just bawling. It's like somebody had died. And I was like, babe, Tori, what's going on? What happened? And she's like, I lost my job. I got fired. And the night before, she was the manager at this Starbucks. And the night before, they were throwing out some food. And one of the girls was like, hey, can I have one of those muffins since we're throwing them out anyway? And Tori's like, sure, go right ahead. One of the other girls didn't like Tori, reported her to corporate, and even though she'd been a manager for 8 years, both her and the girl were fired immediately for theft. Immediately. So we're like most people in America, man. We don't have a lot of savings or anything. Like, we're paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately at this time. And she comes home, and like, rent's going to be due in a couple weeks. And out of nowhere, we have no money. We have like $300-400 in the bank, have no options. We decided we're going to have to pawn my wife's wedding ring, which at that time was a family heirloom that I'd gotten from my mom because I couldn't afford to buy a ring. So we're like, well, let's pawn this ring to try and get some money so we can at least afford to pay rent. And when we pawned it, unfortunately, we couldn't even get enough money to pay rent. It was ridiculous. So we even had to borrow money from our parents. It was like literally one of the worst times in my life, but I'm still plugging away, trying to figure out these funnels and giving everybody value, just going at it. So everybody tags me. Kevin messages me. I tell him about what I've been doing in funnels. I show him some funnels. I show him the certifications I've got from Ryan Dice's digital marketer. I show him the tattoo. He's like, well, man, if you got the tattoo, you got to be the guy, right? So at that point, Kevin pays me $6,000. And during that time, and as broke as we are, I was like, baby, we are rich. We are rich, baby. We're getting your ring out of pawn. We're going out to dinner at Red Lobster. Baby, this is it. We are rich. This is it. It paid off. I told you, And it felt like that. It felt like it was one of the greatest moments of my life, just being able to finally see that going all in and giving it and living on the edge and shit getting so bad, excuse my language, it really paid off, and we're going to do it. So, and this wasn't, we haven't even launched yet. I just making money. So I built out Kevin David's entire ecosystem for his funnel, everything but the webinar itself and the actual course, the funnels, the emails, the messenger bot, like you name it. And I was in there. So we built that out, we launch, and it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen, man. Like, oh my God, talk about blow your mind. Like, mind you, as a personal trainer, some of my best months were like 3 or 4K I'd make. So like, I'd never made more than like 50K in a year in a regular job. We had 2 days There were $100,000 days. We had 108 and $132,000 days. All in all, in 57 days, we did $1.2 million in sales through the very first massive funnel I'd ever made. At that time, it was the fastest anyone had hit $1 million in Clickfunnels. So it was like a real big to do, and Kevin was getting all this notoriety. But the amazing thing is Kevin knew I wasn't getting any notoriety. You know, it's his funnel. I was the guy behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So, and he's just raking it in. All this stuff's happening. Well, September 15th, 2017, Russell Brunson decides they're going to do this viral event where they're going to do the gold digger and the squirrel. You know, we met shortly thereafter that, right? At AdCon, right? Was the first time we actually.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And so they are flying in all these top influencers from all over. Josue Pena was there. You know, they had Caleb Maddox. They had Gary V came in and gave a presentation to us, all private little thing. And mind you, I've never been to anything like this before in my life. And I'm like, oh, I guess this is what these are like, huh? You know, Gary's right there. Everybody's taking pictures. This must be what this is like. And it was so funny because Kevin, being the amazing dude he is, was like, I'm not going to go unless Jeff can go. And ClickFunnels was like, hell yeah, you can go. He's got a ClickFunnels tattoo. We don't care. So the whole purpose of this was actually to set the largest ever human bubble soccer event and get the Guinness Book World Record. So because of this, I'm actually in the Guinness Book World Record for ClickFunnels for the largest ever human bubble soccer event.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing happened. So I'm sitting there, Gary V's over there, he's cussing away, and Russell looks like he's getting punched in the face every time Gary like drops an F-bomb, you know. It's like Gary's like, F this, Russell's like, oh my gosh, you know. And it's just so funny. And I'm just sitting there fanboying over Russell because like he's my like idol. Are you kidding me? He's like right across the room, you know. So I'm looking across the room, and there's this guy, Akbar Sheikh, that I've been following. You know Akbar. And I've always been really good about his make more, give more. And I really thought he was cool. And he was there. And I'll never forget Gary speaking. I look across the room and there's Akbar. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm going to go talk to him as soon as Gary's done. And I pan to his left, and no one other than Bedros Keuilian, the guy who gave me .com or introduced me to .com secrets, which started it all, is sitting right there. So then afterwards, after Gary's done, I go down. We're on the same team for the Guinness Book World Record. I'm telling Bedros what an amazing experience it is, how he changed my life. He invites me and my wife to his VIPs, this business summit in San Diego. We go to AdCon that year because we've launched our agency and we're blowing that up. We get the 10K Dan Henry Award for that. I launched my second funnel for Kevin David. That one took 6 months, which is this guy over here, to hit $1 million. At that time, I'm getting ready to go on Mixergy, Andrew Warner's podcast. And all of a sudden I get a phone call from Kevin. I'm like, dude, what's up? He's like, we did it. I'm like, what are you talking about? We get it, dude. I'm about to go on Andrew Warner. What's up, dude? He's like, we just hit $10 million. So my first funnel went from 1.2 million in 57 days to 10 million in just under 18 months. And that's where we got the X award. So that was my X award I have, the 2 commas I have. I then launched another one for a coaching offer for a client. That was a 10K offer. That one took just under a year. That's my third 2 comma that I got last year. And then if I go to Funnel Hacking Live this year, I'll have my 4th 2 comma, which was for a wholesale Amazon course, which we launched and did 844K in 7 days. And it's gone on to done several million. So since that's all happened, I launched a course that was bought out by a major company. Actually, I don't know if did I ever tell you about that?
I don't think so.
I launched a course called Funnel Agency Secrets. I can't tell you under NDA who bought it, but somebody reached out that likes the name Secrets and liked my course and wound up buying it from me. So I decided at that point that even though I'd launched and done really well, that I didn't like courses as much. They have a low success rate just because if you Google it, like 60 to 70% of people buy courses never open them, you know, which is a stat. So you're like fighting uphill with courses. So I'm like, you know what? I think I'll go into coaching. So I'm like, let me take everything I've learned in these 4 2 commas, and like it's 41.7 million in just under 4 years now they've all generated, and teach people. So I decided to do what everybody does. I'm going to like you know what? I'm going to go low ticket so I can help everybody, right? I'm going to do $97. I'm going to do group coaching. I'm going to sell 1,000 of them, make like 100K a month. I'm going to help people. It'll be great. It's going to be amazing. And as I'm sure Arne can tell you, man, when I launched, people put $97 worth of effort into it too, you know? And the other thing, the problem at that point is I didn't have a system. I was like, I'll just show up and help everybody. That's like, they'll know what they need help with. The problem is most people don't. That's why they need a mentor and a coach. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and they need
so long story short, I start doubling my prices and adding more value to it, and found that every time I double my prices, the level of clients I'd get would double as well. And now I'm to the point, like I was telling Arne before we got on, my last 3 clients have all hit 10K in under 30 days, and they've now all hit 100K in between 100 and 120 days with different niches for their coaching offers. So that's sort of the medium-ish, that's longish medium story, but that's where we are today. Arne's amazing dude. I love him to death. He's a great guy, and I'm honored to have him as a friend, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Love the story. And it's so cool. Like what all the different turning points in that, you know, like that's one thing. I'm definitely glad that you shared like the span of the journey, because, you know, a lot of times people come on podcasts and they just share, hey, look at my fancy awards, but they don't tell you got fired for giving a bagel out. You know, they don't tell you that, you know, you're down to your last dollars investing in these courses, and they don't tell you what the things that happen in the middle. So I always
can I tell you something that I've never told anyone? Never.
Oh, got the exclusive.
This is literally the exclusive, and I'm only willing to share this now because I'm to the point where in content, you never share your wound. You always share your scars. You know, you share when you've gotten past stuff, because no one wants to hear it when you're down in the dumps and it sucks. But that's the truth of entrepreneur. There's going to be down times.
Yep.
So I went from a personal trainer making 40, 50 grand if I was freaking lucky a year, to our first year, we made 800,000 from my agency, 800K. Mm-hmm. So even after taxes and everything, and, you know, making, you know, 40 to 60% profit margin, I forgot exactly what it was, had like almost $500,000 I made that year. Mm-hmm. And we blew it all. Like literally went through it all. Like when my tax guy got to me later that year, he's like, do you know you spent like 56 grand just in travel this year? It's what I made in a freaking year sometimes. So the story that I'm telling you now is like, we blew all our money. Like literally I was lucky from other things like courses and stuff like that we sold. But that original 800K, it's embarrassing to say, there was a point after making 800,000 for a moment that I was freaking broke. Like broke again with 2 awards, 800,000 in sales, and we were broke again because we didn't know how to manage money. I never made anything like that. I was charging $40,000 minimum for a funnel. You know, like I had no clue. So I'm only sharing that because I want people to realize too, no matter how high you get, the low can happen again, especially if you don't monitor things. I didn't know that I had to always keep my finances and keep my pulse in my finances to know where they're going, because I just trusted people, you know.
100%. Yeah. You know, it's like those, you know, NFL players and stuff like that, or, you know, people that come into all this money that have never had money, and they don't have any of the knowledge, systems, or friends that are good at that. So it's a major pitfall for a lot of people. So after all that happening, kind of having that big wake up call, how did you start making better decisions about managing your money?
Well, first of all, I had to realize that every dime I make isn't mine to spend to some degree. Like as business owners, we get in that mindset. If I make 10K, guess what? I just made 10K. No, there's taxes, there's running your business. And then you take a percentage out of that and savings, and then that's what you get. You know, like realistically, even if you're doing 40 or 50% profit, sometimes that doesn't mean that that's all yours. There's still half of that's going to probably run to taxes, 30% if you're good, but they try and get you up in those 50 percentile for taxes and stuff. So that's the thing. Monitoring and tracking, like the saying goes, only that which can be measured truly grows. And since I started tracking my finances, they have just exploded. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like we've made money, we had success, but like, it's really when you know where everything is that you can really start to expand upon it. Like just recently, I was able to drop some money into crypto because I had a savings. I had never in my freaking life until recently had a savings. But now, minimum, I take at least 10 to 15% of every transaction, boom, right into the savings. You know, so that way now, no matter what, it's always going to say, and then after everything's taken out, then I get my little piece.
100%.
That's how you have to do it if you want to grow.
And a side note for the audience, guys, I do have a weekly finance tracker that I use
nice.
religiously. Literally every Monday, it tracks everything from, you know, what's going on in the business, what's coming in, what's coming out, what's about to come in, what's about to go out, down to different investments, personal accounts, net worth. I can keep tabs on my entire net worth every single week just by using this tracker. So if you're curious about it, just go ahead and leave a comment on here and say tracker, and I'll get you hooked up. If you're watching this on you know, YouTube or podcast, feel free to just reach out to me on Facebook. I'll get you hooked up with that. It is such a game changer. Like we had a finance call with my mastermind a couple months ago, and that was one of the tools that I shared with them, was like, for that exact reason, is if you don't keep your eyes on this stuff, it's going to kick you in the ass, right? Like you never know that kind of stuff until you have eyes on those pieces. Right. So I want to save you guys a lot of headache and save you, because imagine if you had that year, but you were tracking all that stuff every single week, do you think you would have been like blowing the same amount of money?
No, not at all. Because that's what happened. As soon as I started tracking it, I was like, holy crap, you're spending like $2,500 a month in just random software and stuff, and like half of them I weren't even using, you know, like, and I'm not like, I'm the type too that's more, I don't like to cut back things. I'd rather make more money to be able to apply, but still, when you're spending that much, it's like, if you don't know it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
We got another tracker for that too, is like all the recurring softwares and stuff. So then every quarter or so, I'll go back and I'll look through. Same thing. Are we actually using this? Like, what's going on here? So you just kind of look at your bank statements and look at all the different charges and make sure that those charges are actually reflected in your tracker. Mm-hmm. And then, because a lot of times we'll just buy shit and then forget to log it, and then be like, oh wow, I'm paying $700 more a month than I thought. Like, that adds up.
Well, I was silly that I didn't, like, for instance, Grubhub. I didn't realize how much I was ordering out, man. I literally one month almost spent $1,000 freaking dollars in delivery. I was like, oh, I got to change this up. So I just got some Hello Fresh now is coming, so I'm cooking a little bit more. But like, you know, it's nice that I'm blessed that I can do something like spend $1,000 on delivery. But like, do we really need to drop $1,000 on delivery? I mean,
yeah. Totally. But I agree with you on the flip side there of, you know, there's only so much you can cut back. It's really, you know, the top side is unlimited income potential. You know,
so much money's out there, man.
And I think that's one of the most powerful things that we have as entrepreneurs, is we don't have a cap. Our only cap is ourselves, you know? So like that, I think that's a good topic to talk about as well, is, you know, because you've coached so many people through this, you've seen people, you know, really skyrocket at different levels. And I know people like they say, new level, new devil. And every time you level up, it's like all of these things trying to force you back into your comfort zone, or play small again, or, you know, revert back to how you used to be. And getting past that and creating that new level of normal and continuing to expand is what entrepreneurs absolutely have to do consistently. It's that reinvention, you know, and setting that new standard for ourselves. And it's the most empowering thing you can ever do. So like, what are some of the things that you work with your clients on around that, where, you know, because strategy is one thing. We can sit here and talk strategy and it'll help you guys, but really understanding things like that, like your mindset and breaking through those next levels and continuing to raise the bar. That's what's really going to keep you guys successful. You know, I can make a headline here, learn from this 7-figure funnel builder, and we'll get a whole bunch of viewers. We say, hey, learn the mindsets of success and up-leveling all this. We're gonna get less viewers, but guess what you need to make 7-figure funnels?
Dude,
the right mindset.
So important. Like that's the thing that I don't think that people understand too. Like if you reflect even back to that loss of the 800K, it's because they didn't have the right mindset. You know what I mean? Like if I'd had a better mindset about my finances, I used to be that guy who's like, oh, it's not about the money. I want to help people and change their lives. Well, if you don't care about your money, it will go away like you don't care about it, you know? So as far as mindset, some of the major things, imposter syndrome and comparative syndrome is so big with people, especially when they're starting out in the world we play in. So for instance, even for me, like when we originally launched my course, we did 200,000 in sales, but I considered it a failure because I compared myself to I had not launched my own course yet, but I'm like, I launched Kevin David's and we did 1.2 million. Why wasn't mine 1.2 million? And you have to realize I'm not freaking Kevin David, just like I'm not Arne. I'm just not you. You have to be able to only compare yourself to you. And as long as you're doing the best, and that is the key, you can't have to ass it. You have to do your best. You only have to be better than you yesterday. And that's one of the big things that people really have to work, because they're seeing so much success everywhere. I had a client that we did a launch. She never did a launch before in her life, made 50K and was upset. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm like, how many launches have you ever done? She's like, 0. I'm like, how many courses and coaching programs have you ever created before? She's like, 0. So last time you launched, how much did you make? She's, well, I've never launched before. So I'm like, why are you upset with 50K? You know, and it was literally more than she'd ever made in one shot at one time. It wasn't like she was a massive influencer that had 1 million people and we needed to make 1 million off of it or something, you know? So I think that's really big. And realizing watching too that never goes away until you grab a hold of it and realize it, because if not, there's always going to be someone above you that you're going to want to compare yourself to. And I think that's okay to use it for drive, but don't use it as your standard where if I don't do this, I suck. You're not that person. If you did better than you did yesterday, then that's totally fine. Better than fine. That's amazing. Because Donnie was saying, the problem that I find too is people don't do the steps to become the entrepreneur that they want to become. They see this vision, that's me at $1 million doing all this, but they don't do the steps. They keep doing the same thing every day and expecting some change. How is that going to happen? You have to consciously plan out what you're going to do. Like I literally now, I didn't want to do this originally. I was like, I don't want to schedule out my calendar. I'm an entrepreneur. I want freedom. I don't want to have to plan out everything, because then I'm not free. You know what freedom I have now? Because I know exactly what's going to get done and when it's going to do it. So my day, I block out everything. I mean, even eating, because if I don't, like most entrepreneurs, we won't do it. We'll skip it or something. So I have to plan out everything, my workouts, my meditation, my time I'm working on my own projects. I literally schedule out everything. So that's another thing I'd recommend, scheduling out your time. First of all, you need to set goals. That's the biggest thing. If you're just fumbling through, I'm going to do whatever, you're never going to reach what you want. You have to set goals, and then you have to reverse engineer what that goal is. I want to make 100K. Cool. What's that look like? What with your program? How many do you need to sell? With your close ratio of your program, how many people do you need to see to be able to make that? Reverse engineer what your KPIs or key performance indicators are. And then okay, if I'm closing 50% and I need to sell 7 people, I need to see 14 this week to be able to hit my goal, to be able to hit my month goal, which is going to help me to hit my year-long goal. So you have to set goals and reverse engineer. And then the hardest thing is when you're blocking out your time, sticking to it. Because it's really easy to be like, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to block it out. It's going to be great. And then the next morning you're like, I don't want to get up and work out right now. Oh, I don't want to write that blog post. I'd much rather go play freaking Valorant or Warzone or something that video games. That's my thing that I've deferred to is video games too often. But that's really it. You need to have your goals. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, because you've got your goals. So if you're hitting them and you've reverse engineered and you're hitting your KPIs, that's all you've got to do. And that's going to help set you up for success so that you become that entrepreneur that you want to be. So 100%. That helps some people out.
Yeah. And I love that, because, so much of it is the clarity. And when you have that clarity on the goal, everything starts to align to make it happen. Because
100%.
if I said I wanted to be a professional tap dancer,
Nice.
if I did, I don't, but if I did, guess what I would start doing? Looking for resources, looking for examples, looking for connections. Oh, now stuff is starting to align. Things are starting to form. Oh, now I see a tap dance class just pop up in my area. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. And it just starts to come closer to reality. And that all starts with that clarity.
100%.
And it's incredible how much is available to us now.
Oh.
Just being able to search around and find stuff and tap into communities, tap into coaches like you and me. Like it's anything you guys want to create, you can create. You just got to go after it.
We live in such a great time. I mean, the internet has changed how we're able to communicate. 10 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do something like this and talk to all these amazing people. I mean, and now we're able to reach across the world. We're able to share information. And here's the cool thing for anyone watching is like, oh, is this a good time to go online? This is the best time to go online. Everybody and their mother is trying to figure out how they can do a side hustle or start online business. And even though COVID and things are getting better, whatever your stance is, I'm going to get into that. That's fine. And things are opening up. People still want the security of going, hey, if this ever happens again, I want my thing to be online. So now, if you've been wondering, no matter what you're doing, how I can move it online, reach out to Arne and figure it out, because this is the greatest time to be going online. You can have a businesses. Arne, he used to travel everywhere when I first know him, and have that you can have that nomad lifestyle if that's what you want, or you can stay at home and work on a farm as long as you got an internet connection. It doesn't matter. So, and realize, as Arne saying, like, the sky's the limit. I mean, like, I'm a testament, dude. I was a freaking personal trainer. Not saying nobody. My mom hates when I say nobody, but it's true. I was just a random Joe, and now I've been blessed that I'm the funnel doc and talking to everyone here now. So
yeah, love it, man. Yeah, I think that's great spot to wrap up on. Is really and seeing so much of your story and seeing so much of what's possible for people just like you and me. Like you said, a couple of years ago, we were just some average Joes with some dreams. And we went out, we got connected, we got the resources, we did the work on actually doing the work. We did the work up here.
Right.
And what do you know? So much more room to grow, and excited to be on the journey with you, man. So thank you so much for coming by the show. And I hope everybody out there listening, think of some of the things that you can take away from this, because so many different nuggets in here, everything from the mindset to, getting connected to how to schedule things, all kinds of stuff. So for everybody else out there that wants to, keep following you and checking out the journey and maybe work with you, where should we send them?
You can either go to funneldoc.com, just funneldoc.com, or check out my Facebook profile, Jeffery and Banek. It's got links and you can see everything that's going on there. So one of those two spots would be amazing.
Perfect. All right. I'll drop those links in the comments for him too. And everybody make sure you guys say thank you, Jeffery. He could be anywhere in the world right now, and he is here with us. So appreciate you, man. And catch you guys next time on another episode. Super pumped. Next episode is a guy who sold 135 grand in 4 days with no sales calls, no sales page, just a Facebook group and a really freaking good offer. So it's going to be a cool one. Make sure you guys stay tuned.
When is that? I'm gonna make sure I show up.
I think next week about the same time. I'll keep you posted.
Nice.
All right, guys. Till next time. Thanks again, man.